All right, and last, Greenland, which is one of the films right now which is showing in local theaters. Right?
Right. Which,
So,
yeah.
Ricardo, okay, so before I begin, I was aware of when the trailer came out first. I didn't watch it 'cause I didn't watch it 'cause I didn't want the story to be spoiled in any way, right? All I knew it was Gerard Butler and it was a disaster film. It's kind of funny
Right.
because he was also in a previous disaster film called Geostorm, which I was
Right.
going to see in IMAX, and luckily something came up and I never got to see it. And then I
That's
heard how
true.
bad
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah. Well, true.
So yeah, I guess in your case, since you saw it, you could kind of compare the two, right? Because I
Right.
just hear it bad, right? I never see it. But yeah, this was supposed to come out theatrically, but then because of COVID, plans kind of change. But I was expecting the show to come out, well, December, right? Because I believe that's when it's going to come out on VOD. But not only did it come out theatrically down here in Trinidad, but it came out on Amazon Prime. So I'm like, well, okay. Why now should I go theaters to watch that when I could like literally stay home and watch it on Amazon Prime, which is exactly what I did and what you did, right? So anyway, what is Greenland about?
Right. So it's basically something along the lines of they found a comet, or fragment of a comet coming to Earth, and they have only a few days to live. However, they have a slight, respite in the sense that they have these like bunkers and places to get to, with in Greenland. So, right, somewhere in Greenland, it'll save everybody or protect them at least. That's the closest for the main characters to get to. And that's pretty much it. They don't really have much else to do. They can't save the world in any way. And it's just shenanigans and chaos ensues with his family. You have your boy Gerard Butler playing a dad, of course, with his family. He and his son and his wife, and they have to just get from here to there. And well, you're supposed to get to a point in the airport, and then things get a little worse. But we'll talk about that. I think that's pretty much it. So
Yeah. Thoughts
starting
on Greenland. I want to hear your thoughts
it's
on
a
it.
slightly more intelligent version of 2012. Slightly. Remember 2012? That bullshit.
Yeah. you know,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So just to stop you for a bit, right? Here's the thing, right? A good thing that you brought up 2012, right? When it comes to disaster films, right, you usually think of one director, that's Roland Emmerich, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw Independence Day when it came out in '96, right? I didn't watch Day After Tomorrow when it came out
Right.
theatrically. I saw it on cable, but I
Right.
did go to see 2012. I actually went to see it twice to ask for why in cinema, right? But here's the thing about that show, and just to talk about Roland and compare to this, right? This is a guy as always called like he does disaster pornos. Like he will make this like the nature of disaster films, but he will make this look like this epic CG fest, right? So
Yeah.
everything looks so epic and larger than life, and it's just destruction, it's
Right.
meteors and destruction. Sorry,
Well, yeah.
avalanches and all that kind of
So
stuff. But especially with 2012, way he like outdid himself
yeah,
with this one. So
he
it's one of those
just
shows
went
that I can just
balls
kind
deep.
of shut. It's one of those like it's way dumber than you would think, yeah? Believe me. Even right down to 2012 and the Mayan calendar. This is well this all this is gonna happen exactly in 2012, right?
Right.
That's the hook of the show. But I could shut my brain off and just watch a bunch of CG, just a CG extravaganza and have fun, which is why I did. I never rewatched it. 'Cause I mean, twice was enough for me. But yeah, I don't know if I guess your view is different to that show. But yeah, thoughts on 2012 and Roland Emmerich as
Oh
far
no,
as
yeah,
the
yeah,
you know
yeah.
the genre
He's
goes. Right?
a yeah, he's a director that I mean, he's a person I come to appreciate a little more, but yeah, he still do a lot of bullshit. Um, he does stuff that like I like Independence Day. 2012 was just ridiculously stupid, and it played on something that was stupid. The whole Mayan candle and nonsense, and he just played. It was perfect. I mean, if from a marketing and movie release blockbuster standpoint, it's actually a pretty smart move because everybody talking about that shit make it, right? They made it. Made sense. But the movie was incredibly dumb. Didn't make much sense to me. As usual, it's typical Roland Emmerich shit. And then he did I think Anonymous after that, which is so stupid and I hate. This is basically the conspiracy theory movie about Shakespeare. That Shakespeare is
Oh,
not
I
Shakespeare.
remember that. I avoided that like the
Yeah,
plague.
yeah,
Yeah.
real nonsense. Hated it. Then you had well, he did your boy, one of your favorite movies of all time, of course, Independence Day Resurgence.
Resurgence.
Yeah,
Yay! The best
right.
movie of 2016.
Yeah, but I'll say the only film of him I liked in recent memory was probably White House Down. That's one I actually enjoyed and had fun with for what it was.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah,
another Gerard.
exactly.
I think that
Because it
was
knew what
right,
it was too. That's what
right.
make it work.
And that reminiscent of well something that um Gerard Butler did, which is the Has Fallen series, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've only
Yeah,
seen Olympus.
right.
Didn't like it as much as I wanted to, Jed. I felt that it took itself way
Right.
too seriously. But then it
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
had
Like
what the other two. I was just like, I don't really care because I just heard that they were worse than Olympus.
right. It's kind of the taken of these kind of action movies, and it have a kind of political dimension to it. Like White House Down is clearly liberal, while the Olympus franchise more cater to the conservative end of things. And it to me, Gerard Butler is somebody who has been for me kind of box office poison for a hot minute now. Like real
Like I don't
trash.
know, I don't know what happened after 300. Like I know 300 was what
He has so
2007,
many.
boy. But after that, boy, is
Yeah.
just like, dude, Kima. Remember Kima? Remember
Right.
that?
Yeah. No. He had some. Yeah. Yeah. He had some
I
just
went
some
to watch
messes.
Gamer
Like just
because he was in it.
yeah.
I spent
Uh,
money to watch Gamer because it was Gerard Butler in it, and I wasted my money on that shit.
yeah. No. He's one of those that just it's shocking how many bad movies he did. And I the limit was Geostorm. Like Geostorm was like the last for me. But he had like a lot of bad movies. Like just stuff just not working and not flowing well or making sense. And it's just these movies that just half-assed. I forget the one where he was like a submarine captain or something like that. That one of those like that. It's all of these weird military things that clearly like catered for your dad, your boomer dad, effectively. Like that's what it's for. Like it's your
Right,
boomer
right,
dad
right.
who loves, but the rest of these is just nonsense. Um, and that's pretty much me on that whole thing. Like it's this style of material, but then with this film now, they take it a little more somber. They make it a little more reserved, and it works a lot better, right? All of the side characters are good. Gerard Butler is good in this. He doesn't feel too hammy. It's okay. I thought this wasn't so bad because it plays it a lot more seriously. It's kind of think of it as the comet the comet version of like Contagion. Remember Contagion? Like
Yeah,
Contagion
which was like the
played
show everybody was making reference to in 2020 because
right.
obvious, right?
But the whole point of Contagion is how grounded everything was and realistic everything felt, and it's this have the same to it. Is that all right? Something coming, how we go react, how we go feel. They had the I forget the old man's name, but he's the old man from the Leftovers. He that was a character in it. He was
Not
cool.
Scott Glenn,
Uh,
right?
I want to say I don't know. I can't remember the actor name off the top of my head.
Not
But
not
yeah,
not the guy who played the wife who is played by Miguel Morena Baccarin, by the way. Not her dad, right? Somebody else.
I think it's her dad. He's the one who went
Yeah,
to the farm.
Scott Glenn. He
Scott
was
Glenn,
the
yeah,
he
yeah,
was the
Scott
dad.
Glenn, Scott Glenn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Glenn,
And
right,
funny
yeah.
thing is, like, I was watching the face, like, I know this guy, but it's when they show him in the eyes, like, oh yeah, right,
Right,
him,
right, right.
right.
And yeah, it worked. It worked for what it was. Like I couldn't be too hype off for it because the premise wasn't that engaging. It's not like they do anything interesting with the premise. You see it before, but they say, all right, like play this grounded. It's way better than, at least from a groundedness world building standpoint, much better than 2012, much better than Armageddon, even better than Deep Impact, which is a movie I generally like and defend. Um, yeah, that's it. I mean, it had nothing else to really say about it. It ends on a note of, oh, okay, you're hearing everybody's voices, so that means humanity survived, even though the world looking real fuck up, and
Yeah,
it'll
boy.
probably crash our ecosystem. But whatever, humans survive, so welcome to the Mad Max world.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
you know, Baccarin was good. She had decent chemistry with Butler. Nothing to write home about, but still fine. Like I enjoyed myself. It was decent. I could have probably gone and see this in CC8, and sneak in a burger from from the Panera next to it and enjoy myself on a Thursday afternoon, right? And in the times of before the great virus. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, I would enjoy it if I saw it in theaters. I wouldn't feel I waste my time too much. But yeah, I dug this. This is alright. It was fine by me. Nothing major. It's fine.
All right. Well, here's the thing, right? I agree with you for the most part. The groundedness is what surprised me about it, right? How
Right.
compelling the characters were, how you cared about the couple that would be Jared and Marina themselves and what it is they had to deal with, right? It plays things out well, quite realistically, quote unquote, right? Which
Yeah.
surprised me also. Although I felt that there was like a lot of time focused on, okay, we have to get to this airport and the military is
Right.
there, and it's these selected people and some people that are gonna make it, and of course there's chaos and all that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Right.
It plays out like that for the most part. Right? Although I find that there was a lot of time focused on characters trying to leave as opposed to the actual threat itself, right? Which leads me
Yeah.
to a little nitpick, right? So for some people, once they hear the name, once they hear the term disaster film, right, they're gonna go into this expecting stuff like what you've seen in a Roland Emmerich film, right? Or another
Right.
disaster film, right? They're gonna expect the whole big budget. Oh yeah, there's another one, San Andreas. I forgot to mention that.
Oh
That's like
yeah.
one of the
I
few Dwayne Johnson
completely
movies that I have
yeah.
avoided. Like first time I saw the trailer for that, I was like, nope,
I completely forget about it.
Dwayne
It's
is
like
my
I totally
boy, but
memory
I'm not
hole
watching
that.
that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not watching that. No, no,
Yeah.
no,
I
no, no.
completely forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just I mean I gave Sky Skyscraper a blind, and that was bad. But I have a feeling that San Andreas was worse, right? But whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know people are gonna go in. Even I myself was expecting a little spectacle, right? And you do get that, right? But I felt that there was a lot of time just trying to ground everything in reality, that you kind of forget, oh, there's these things in the sky that could do serious damage, and we kind of need to
Right.
see these things, not like have the character they're going to say who put on a TV and see various news reports, including a recorded video of one of the rocks landing next to him, you know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
wish that the show itself could have, well, I don't know. See, I guess balance the spectacle with the realism,
Well,
right? This is something like what Independence Day
like I
tried
still
to
it's still
do,
far fetched in terms of how
like
you. Yeah. No. They ain't gonna do that because again the whole groundedness of it is that you won't really see, like if a meteor come to hit you, you won't see it coming. Like it is moved so fast, and
right,
the
right.
distances you've seen it from so far. I'm glad that they say it's a comet, because with a comet
Oh
you'll
yeah,
see a comet coming. I like that they said that. It's just chunks of a comet. You've seen it coming, cool. But they didn't see it away because comets are more or less invisible until they get too close to it. I like that. Right?
right,
So
right,
little
right.
things like
Makes
that.
sense. Yeah.
Like you'll see a comet coming, you see the big streak. So they don't do the bullshit thing from Deep Impact or what do you call it, Armageddon, where you see this big rock coming and thing like that. None of that shit. That shit just be moving so fast. If it get close to it, to the point where it'll hit our atmosphere, it'll literally land within a second. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
they did that. Like what you're seeing in the sky is very far away, but because of the what comets happen with the sun, like that whole why comets have a tail is because of the sun, nothing to do with it.
Right, right, right. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that kind of realistic, and I appreciate these little things. Like they try. I don't expect it to be nothing. It obviously is a story, it's coincidental, blah blah blah. They had this one scene where they was in like traffic and they seen rocks falling. That's a stubble shit. But again, they play kind of smart because
Yeah.
it's more like hail than rather than the thing falling. So it's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah,
It's very
and
very small.
in that scene in particular, sorry to cut in, that scene in particular, funny thing is I was thinking about 2012. Because I believe there was a scene involving, I think it was like an earthquake, like like
No,
the ground was crumbling behind a
right?
car. The
No,
car was just basically speeding down a road. Or
yeah,
maybe I
yeah.
got that scene wrong or something like that.
No, it's okay. So I remember it because again, this movie had so much bullshit in it. 2012. You're talking about 2012, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right, right. So that was
it was either rock like meteor
Yellowstone.
rocks or earthquake.
Yeah, Yellowstone exploded because that had to be part of it, of course, right? Because that's a thing. Like people keep
Right.
talking about how,
Yes.
oh
Yes.
Yellowstone could potentially explode in America, blah blah blah. That bullshit. The thing is because of the wherever the magic flip thing that was going on in the movie that the Mayans predict, that bullshit. the Yellowstone exploded, and that would cause the big collapse because that'll be this big disaster. Whatever. Go ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the trailer unfortunately spoils that moment.
Okay.
I mean, me seeing it for the first time, I thought it was cool though. Even though in my head I was like, okay, I wonder if they're gonna go the epic route with this scene. But thankfully
No.
they do that. They do. It's a great moment actually. It's actually one of the best moments in the show, right? But yeah, I was there just kind of wondering if they were going to have a bit of Emmerich stuff in it, but luckily they don't. So I guess, it's just, some great foresight in terms of what the show is trying to be there.
Right.
But I know that yeah, people are gonna go in with no knowledge of how Comet 2 can just thinking, oh, big rocks with fire streaking from behind them, falling from the sky, from space, whatnot. We want to see just crazy shit like exploding, like sorry, racing through buildings and blowing them up and splitting them in half. Like, like people may go in expecting to see something out of a Michael Bay Transformers movie, but you don't really get that here. But still, I wish that they could have give us a little bit more spectacle. I think the reason being is because of the tone of it, how dark and somber it all feels, right? That reminds me of was this is not so much a disaster film, but it does involve it. Knowing, right? This is the film from 2009 that Alex Proyas did with Nicolas Cage. Actually, a
Right.
show that I
Remember? I
wanted to
kind of
like,
remember
but
that.
then the ending was just so depressing. And
That's
although I
not where
get what they were going for,
that's not
but
where
it was
the
like,
aliens. That's not the kids went to some different galaxies, some alien shit.
yeah, that's how
But
the
that,
movie ends. And basically,
yeah.
the
I'm
world
aware of
gets wiped out, and you get this montage of people dying, and I
that.
like, dog, Dre, like.
Yeah.
Why you gonna make me feel this way, Trent? Like it have no hope, you know what I mean? And yeah, you do get this sense of hopelessness throughout the show. The just how the family itself, that would be Gerard Morena and their son, right? How they get split up at the airport and just them trying to get back to each other and back and forth, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's tense, but it's also really sad and whatnot. So yeah, it's like that. It's that kind of show, but it works in terms of setting that tone. There is one little like glaring plot hole that I just want to bring up without spoiling too much. Um, Basically it involves Jared. Jared has a car, right? He has a vehicle that he takes to go to the airport, right?
Right.
And after the shenanigans where they get split up, he runs back. Well, sorry, like in between the shenanigans, he runs back to get some medicine for his son because his son's a diabetic, right? Afterwards, he comes back to the same car and there's a note, right? So the wife left a note. She's going over by her dad, right? So why did afterwards is like they just forget about like he like forgets about the vehicle entirely, and like now he like trying to get a vehicle to get to meet his wife and kid there. But I was like, but dog, you came in that car. They're like, what happened? You didn't steal the car. You just left the car right there. Like the show never gets back to it. Like I don't know, maybe I probably blinked and missed it, but I swear like the movie itself forgot that Jared owned a vehicle in the first place, right? Also, I felt like, with the idea of like how it was set up in terms of, hey, we have to get to this particular airport. Like this family needs to go to this airport. Later on, there's a moment where the family splits up again, and another family now tries to get to another airport, right? But I felt like they didn't really establish that well enough, so it almost felt as if they were going back, to the first airport, but it's actually another one. So, in other words, they didn't really establish that different airports in different states had military, support there. Like they were waiting for people to, go into these planes and fly out. They just kind of established early on that it was this one airport. That's what I see it. So there's a
Okay.
little narrative hiccups here or there, like a little, little stuff that really could have been reworked as for a fight, because it just kind of made things a little not hard to follow, but just like, okay, you could establish that a lot better, right? That's just me.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, though, the performances were great. I do agree with you. Jared and Marina do have, decent enough chemistry together. Marina really, really, I mean, she's a great actress in my opinion, and yeah, she really sold the whole, where's my son, where's my husband moment. Yeah, because yeah, she's separated from both of them, and you really feel it for her. Not too over the top, like she's bawling and whatnot, but still is like, yeah, you feel how she feels at this moment, but at the same time, she had to think about her own well-being too, right? Uh, so it goes to Jared's character, like he wants to reunite with his family, but survival, self-survival too. And yeah, that essentially is what the show is about. It's just about these characters just trying to survive this thing. I would say the third act, that's where you get your disaster thrills because we have this planet killer that shows up near the end.
Right.
Um, and for those scenes they work, even though I felt that it was kind of the cliche set of things. Like we've seen moments where you think, oh, I mean everything's okay and they survive, but nope, there's another thing that hits and there's this another danger, moment of danger and tension that happens like immediately afterwards, like I saw that coming like a mile away, right? And I felt like once again just the disaster thrills, like they could have had a little bit more. So me having to wait until the third act to really see them, and have two acts of just characters who either want to go on a plane or don't want to go to a plane, who either want to go here or don't want to go here, yeah, kind of dragged the show for me personally. So yeah, I just felt like they just really kind of balanced things out just a little bit. But but I'm glad that they didn't go to the over the top, Emmerich stuff, right? Like 2012, 2012 have some ridiculously over the top moments, like two seasons I'll never forget. The fall of the Vatican, sorry, and when the White House, this tanker literally falls over the people who more or less hiding in the White House, and Emmerich makes these things so glorious and so grandiose. Trevor, when you think about this, so dumb. But
Yeah.
I'm glad this show here doesn't follow that, right? So in a way, it's kind of an anti-Emmerich disaster film in a way, right? So or you could say an anti-disaster film, kind of,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So it's trying to do something new. Sorry, not new, but just something more grounded without having to rely on heavy special effects to emphasize the weight of what's going on. I was thinking in the back of my mind, maybe it's a budget thing, who knows? But I mean, you have big actors in this trend, but yeah, they use their visuals sparingly, right? The VFX rather sparingly. But yeah, other than that though, the show is what it is. It didn't blow my way, but I was engaged, with what was going on too, and I like how things play out in the end, even though I felt like you really could have given us a little bit more thrills instead of depressing stuff, right? Which is appropriate given the
Right.
nature of the show. So, rated wise, I'll give this a strong 3 to a light 3.5 out of 5, man. It's
Yeah.
hype for what it is. Like you, I would have gone to Caribbean cinemas to watch it. I wouldn't have spent.
I
Uh,
probably would
I
have.
wouldn't. I wouldn't watch this in IMAX at all. Not at all. Not
Yeah.
for this. Not so. Sorry to see this small scale,
It's one
right?
of it's one of those movies. It's one of those movies out of just out of use as an excuse to get out of the house. Like it's one of those. And I would watch
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
before. I'd watch it before
And
my book club or writing meeting or something like that. It's one of those.
yeah, and the funny thing is, out of the shows that in the lineup right now, well, this is prior to Tenet coming out. I actually had Greenland on my mind basically to go and see that. But not only was Saturday or yesterday times recorded here, Diwali, being a religious
Right.
holiday, but Greenland came out on Amazon Prime, so I was like, okay, I'll watch that. I'll literally watch that on Diwali,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's good for what it is, right? It's not the best disaster show you'll ever see in your life. If you're looking for the spectacle, watch one of Emmerich's films, right? But in terms of a grounded, more realistic, more emotionally driven disaster film, yeah, this is a good one. This is right up there in my opinion. So if you're interested, give it a look, man. But don't go in expecting 2012, right? That's all I'll say. Last was a rating on Greenland.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. I had some fun with it. It wasn't too obnoxious. It not too realistic, but you enjoy it. Again, I think because I had such low standards, I hear disaster film and I see the Gerard Butler, so I almost immediately wrote it off. But I said, all right, let me give it a chance, and didn't regret it. That's it.